Seattle's offensive line has been looking impressive after moving to 1-1. Seattle's offense has been looking pretty good for the first 2 weeks. Darnold, although he had 2 picks this game, still was able to get out with the win. But what are my thoughts on this offense going into week 3 against the New Orleans Saints?
It's football time.
Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the All Around Sports Podcast for sports, everything on this channel. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are talking about the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, of course, getting a recent win after losing week 1 to the 49ers by the Niners being lucky, of course. But they bounced back in week 2 to get a win over Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the offensive line, that was projected to be one of the worst in the league, has only allowed 3 sacks in the first 2 weeks of the season. That is the least amount of sacks in the NFL right now. And the main guy I want to talk about is Robbie Oots. That has been an amazing addition to the offense from the draft. But what are my thoughts on the Seahawks offense going into week 3? I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Before we do, if you guys do enjoy this video, do me a favor, smash the button down below, subscribe if you haven't already. For now, let's talk about Seattle. Seahawks. I believe this offensive line was being massively underestimated because Brady Zabel has been performing outstandingly since we saw him in the preseason. He has been doing an outstanding job. Abraham Lucas, after he struggled against Nick Bosa on that last play that ended the game for Seattle, that he rebounded after that week. But there's one guy I want to bring up, and that's Robbie Oots, the rookie fullback. We drafted him as a tight end, and he's turned into a fullback. This man has a case to be Offensive Rookie of the Year as far as blocking goes. Because Robbie Oots, this man, has been making amazing blocks. The run game, I noticed on that touchdown that K9 had, Robbie Oots made a key block. He's been making multiple key blocks that have allowed the Seattle Seahawks offense to run down the field. Robbie Oots, he may not be seeing multiple touches, but he is performing at a very good level as a blocker. I just want to get that out of the way first. But after Seattle struggled from the receiver core in week 1, the offensive core was able to rebound after week 1. Of course, Cooper Kupp had 90 yards and JSN had 103 yards. His second straight game where he's had over 100 yards, which last year he only had 3 in separate occasions. But Torrey Horton, this man looked really good yesterday. This man, Torrey Horton, was wide open, and this man made the play. And he was looking really good. I've said it. I believe Torrey Horton would be a steal for Seattle after what I saw from him in the preseason. Elijah Arroyo's also been really good too. He's been a really solid rookie for the Seahawks. And also A.J. Barner finally making his first touchdown catch of the season.
Hey there. Listen, about what I said earlier.
But this offense has been really good for the first 2 weeks. Of course, week 1, they did not look so smooth. They were kind of still getting in sync. But this week, they were able to rebound. And this is the kind of team that is going to take some time to gel because Sam Darnold is way different than Geno Smith. We all know that. And we all knew it was going to take some time for Seattle to come together and form chemistry with each other before this team would actually be relatively good. But the offense, I believe this offense is a really trustable offense because JSN was able to perform on a high level yesterday. Cooper Kupp was able to perform on an elite level yesterday. And also along with K9 in the run game. Seattle's offense Sam Darnold, he only had 11 incompletions, and they still won the game. And the only difference is when they had Geno Smith as their quarterback, they were throwing the ball like 40, 50 times a game, and they were losing games. They're relying more on the run game on a consistent basis. This is what I've said on the Seahawks all season. Seattle's offense has to be built around the run. That's what I've said for a few weeks. Because during all of last year, I was pleading for the Seahawks to use the run. Now, Charbonnet, he was quiet, but K9 broke out. Maybe that's going to be kind of the theme. One game, Zach Charbonnet goes off, and then the other game, K9 goes off. We're not sure on that yet. But this team is looking really good. But, of course, they got an easy game next week, hopefully against the New Orleans Saints next week. But after the Niners allowed 21, and then the Cardinals allowed 14 against the Saints, I'm telling you all this right now. If Seattle allows less than both the Cardinals and the Saints, we may start to have questions about those two defenses going against Seattle. We might start to have those questions. I'm not saying that's going to be what's brought up, but that's what I'm going to be talking about. But Seattle has a lot of ways to go. Of course, they got a few tricky games coming up in their schedule. They, of course, have the Saints this upcoming week. That should hopefully be a relatively easy win. Of course, with the Niners making it close, makes me a little concerned. But then they have the Cardinals that following week, which hopefully should be a close one. And hopefully Seattle can keep that streak against Arizona going. And then you got Tampa Bay. That game, I believe, is going to be Seattle's first legitimate test. If Seattle is going to be a legit contender, that's a team I believe they have to beat. Then you got the Jaguars in week 6, which just got done losing to Cincinnati that lost Joe Burrow. Hopefully Joe Burrow's okay. But then you also got the Texans on Monday Night Football before your bye week, and then you go against the Commanders. Then you go against the Cardinals again in week 10, then the Rams. I've said it, Seattle's schedule is not relatively difficult. It's actually easier than people think. Because they should be sitting at 2-0, but I'm not going to say that because the week's already passed. But Seattle's got a really good chance to still make the playoffs. But of course, if they want to prove that they can be a legit contender in the NFC, they have to at least beat Tampa Bay. Because I've talked about Tampa Bay. I do believe they're one of the sneakier teams to keep a close eye on. If you want to go check out that video, I'll have that link in the description down below. That was, of course, before the season started. But, of course, we'll see what happens. But I like where the offense is going so far. And hopefully they can keep it going against the New Orleans Saints next week. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What are your guys' biggest takeaways from Seattle in week 2? Let me know in the comments what you guys think down below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do me a big favor and smash like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Ciao for now.